Welcome to ArtHouse Radio. I'm your host, Troy. This episode I'm going to be talking about the social dilemma. Before we get into that, though, I just want to let you know that I am embarking on what I'm calling the Roadkill Project. That's where I am on the road, creating new works during the pandemic, artwork, podcast work, music work. Really want to get into writing a new all piano album, maybe some other things. You can go to arthouse43.com, thisiswhereyouare.com, and find out more information. It's not completely ready yet. I'll be adding to it. But I'm coming to you from Omaha, Nebraska, so it's underway. I'm not necessarily going to create works that are reflective of what's happening. I mean, on the podcast here, I'm sure I'll talk about it a little bit, talk about a few topical things. But in terms of the artwork, that's not something that I do anyway. With creating works that mean things or have significance other than themselves. But on the podcast, I'm sure I'll talk about it. But I just wanted you to know that that's what that is, and that's the Roadkill Project, and I'm sure I'll be posting a lot more about that. All right. I'm going to do another episode as well I'm working on it. It's called America's Not Over and Neither Are You, kind of talking about the hysteria that we seem to be experiencing, and it seems to be coming from every direction, and how we're going to be all right. We just have to remember that we're going to be all right. And, one of my favorite podcasts to listen to is the Dillon Show. He's so bombastic, is a good word to use. He's usually tongue-in-cheek, but he was saying the other day about how you gotta, whether we're talking about the pandemic or politics, you gotta live your life. Nobody has fun anymore. And it started making me think about Van Halen with Eddie dying last week or 2 weeks ago. Van Halen, AC/DC, these guys like to party. And you like to party too. You've just forgotten. So I'm on the road here. I'm being safe. I'm distancing myself. It sucks because I can't go to bars and meet people, but I can interact with people, wear a mask, keep distance, wash my hands, wash my feet, whatever I got to do to keep safe. But fun has got to come back into our lives. It has to. You can't. I wanted to do this project because I didn't want to sit inside for this hopefully final wave of the winter and just stare at the walls just like, God, this is really terrible. I wanted to be safe, but go out onto the road and enjoy things and have a loose structure. I have some plans, but before I get back home to Michigan, I'm going to be going places and talking with people and doing projects, and a lot of things will just sort of come up in the moment. And I think that's important to do, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing this. The reason I bring it up on this episode, I basically just did that podcast, I should just upload that, finish it off, is because the social dilemma talks a lot about that too. And there are a couple things I just want to go through on the social dilemma, Netflix's social dilemma, that kind of stuck out to me. The first one is that you should already know most of this. This shouldn't be news to anyone, what you're learning in here. There were a few things that I thought, whoa, I didn't think about that, for sure. But you should have already known this stuff. Another thing is that one of the things that I didn't know that was shocking was when one of the nerds, come on, they're nerds. What are you going to do? We're all nerds to a certain degree, varying degree. One of them said that for these advanced algorithms that are run by AI, which AI is essentially, happening right now, that there's only a couple of people at Facebook and Google and whoever else that know how these algorithms work, and even they don't really know. So we're like barreling towards the situation where you have like a rent-a-cop sitting in an office eating a donut and drinking coffee and reading Hustler magazine while there's a bunch of computers flashing lights, and his only job is to let us know if something weird happens. That's pretty much what's happening. We sort of fed this into society and we're like, ooh, let's see what happens. That seems totally irresponsible. The next thing is, these guys, I think, should be applauded for coming out and saying this. These guys were big, you know, the people being interviewed in the documentary worked on these things, pushed them, invented them, helped get them going, and now they're basically pulling the fire alarm, which I think they should be applauded. But, big butt coming here, Sir Mix-a-Lot size butt coming here, these motherfuckers created this. You know what I mean? They helped create this stuff. They were there. They knew what it was going to do. They don't try to act like you didn't know, or like, oh my God, what is happening here? You, deep down, you knew that this was dangerous, and you fucking did it anyway. So I will welcome you into the club of let's try and figure out a way to be smarter here, but I got my eye on you. There's an asterisk next to your name. If I'm the dictator, and I'll be like, oh, bring him in, let's talk with him. Fucking keep an eye on this guy. Well, Jesus Christ. This guy fucking helped make the bomb. He wants to come in and help us defuse it. I don't think so. The other thing is there was a term in there that kind of threw me. And because the social dilemma was kind of talking about the polarization of the country and how much social media is doing that or contributes to that, then these guys started going off on like ideological rants. Like, climate change is obviously fucking important, but what are we talking about here? One guy goes off on a climate change rant. I thought he was going to tell people if you're not a vegan, you're a Nazi. And then they came up with the term, I think it was digital capitalism. It's like, Jesus Christ, here we fucking go. And I'm, you know, just by saying that, I'm not saying that I'm a free, totally free market person, but here we go with the terms that are polarizing. You know, I get it. Digital capitalism. You're saying that the human mind, it's almost like digital enslavement in a way, or digital behavior modification, whatever you want to call it. But as soon as you start calling it digital capitalism, you lost half your audience. They're tapping out. Which leads me to the next thing that I noticed, which was we seem to get into problems, and maybe documentaries help more than any other medium because you kind of watch this, but you're kind of preaching to the choir, and I'm not sure how much documentaries are going to save us. Like, obviously they're not intended to save us. They are intended to make us aware of something, and then we take that information and we apply it to our lives. Sure. But I think we're probably relying too much on things that don't work. I don't know what the answer is. I'm not here to say I've got all the answers. I'm just here to say we've been down this road before. Remember, Michael Moore had a documentary. I can't remember what it was. It might have been Capitalism, Love Story, ironically, where the screen went blank at the end, and he was like, listen, I'm not going to do this every couple of years with you assholes not listening to what I'm saying. And not that he's right about everything. He's not, of course. But it was kind of like, listen, I can't, what do you want me to do? You want me to come to your house and vote for you? You want me to come to your house and take out your recycling? You're going to have to do something. I'm just here to try to, Paul Revere style, into your lives, all the problems that we have. You have to take it upon yourself, which I think this movie kind of lacked a little bit. Like, I didn't hear really any solutions. I will say that I do like Jaron Lanier, who said, just delete your social media. That's what you do. And I think, I don't know if it's right or not, and I don't know if giving up your phone is the way to go. I think it's going to have to be an integration. The phone is just the current medium. It's going to change. It's going to develop into something else, into like glasses or holograms, watches and holograms, something. And but I like that he said had something concrete. I don't think the rest of them, I don't really hear. I mean, they always push legislation. I get that legislation, if you look at all the key things over history, have, you know, made a huge difference. It forces people to when there are grotesque things happening, it forces people to sort of do something that they don't want to do, but that's the right thing to do. But to sit here and say that legislation is gonna solve this, this is bigger than anything that we've ever seen, I think. And you've got fucking 80-year-olds in the Senate, in the House, in running the country. Look at Joe Biden and Fat Boy, 2Pump over there. These guys are like almost 80 years old. These guys don't understand how the fucking internet works. What are you, nuts? I mean, what the fuck are they going to do? They're going to consult the people they need to consult and be like, they'll call their lobbyists and be like, can you give me somebody down here to help write this legislation? And Comcast will be like, we'll be right down. Instagram will be like, we'll be there too. It's not going to, if anything, the legislation is going to make it worse given the state of things. Maybe not in Europe. Oh, Europe, they've got it all figured out with their finger pointing about how, let's rewind the clock to the last century. Everybody has faults. Everybody has contributions, good and bad. This is probably something we're going to have to figure out in our little local communities and hope that that makes like an overall, like an aggregate of people who are doing things sensible. I don't know what the answer is. I would say the social dilemma, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. If I had to give it on the 10-star system, I'd give it a 6.8. I won't watch it again. All right, that's been me and you doing this. ArtHouse Radio at arthouse.radio, and you can find us on the internet, arthouse43.com, or thisiswhereyouare.com. That's where my personal stuff is. I'm at Spaces with Light. If you are in the mood to follow things and you're on a follow kick, head over there. I'll follow you back. All right, so that's it for this time. I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, headed out to somewhere else, and I will see you there.